Hey everyone, it's Tammy here, and I am here today because I just had a chance to play with the brand new Creative Memories circle cutter, and I am completely in love. And I've only played with it for a little bit, but I thought I would pop in and share with you a fun little layout that I'm going to create using this new Creative Memories circle cutter. So we also got the new geometric frame punch, and I'm going to use this on this layout. And I have some really fun photos that I think both the geometric frame punch and the circle cutter are going to be perfect for these photos that we just took this past weekend. So I thought I would share with you my creation of this layout. So I hope it works out. So I'm just going to set my photos aside, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about this new circle cutter. So I'm also going to set the geometric punch aside for a bit. So this circle cutter will cut up to an 11-inch circle. There are markings on the cutter. The white markings are for cutting, and the black markings are for inserting a pen into this holder here and drawing some circles. So it's really a 2-in-1 circle maker, really, because it makes circles and it draws circles. So I just a few minutes ago, I just played with it, and this was my first cut here. So it cut this this hollow circle, and then I'd cut another one and another one and another one, and then I started playing a bit. So I cut all these circles, and I'll show you how to use the cutter in a minute. And then what I did is I cut this offset circle. So not only can you cut regular circles, but you could cut offset circles as well. So this will be kind of fun to play with, don't you think? And then you can draw with it. I will do another video on all the tips and tricks with that, but I just really wanted to create a layout for you. But first, I do want to share with you a couple of tips when using the circle cutter. The first tip is to use a non-stick surface. So this is just, that non-stick rubber mat. I have it under a lot of my tools, actually, so they don't slip. So you're going to put your 13 by 13 Creative Memories custom cutting system mat on top of that, and you can see it does not shift at all. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to take your circle cutter and to line it up so that the whole mechanism is right on this 6-inch line. So it's centered on the 6-inch line, and you can see from the center piece here that it's centered on the 6-inch line here, and then that it is centered on the 6-inch line this way. So you're totally centered on your mat. And then once you're centered, you're going to take a permanent marker and mark right at this end. And you want to do that because that's where the blade is going to cut. And you kind of need to know exactly where the blade is going to start cutting. So the blade housing mechanism is in here, and that's where it's going to start cutting. So you just kind of want to make sure that you know where that is, and so that you mark that. Then you're going to put your paper on top of your 13 by 13 inch mat. If you want it centered, like I showed you earlier, you're going to use those lines and center this little bump along the 6 and this little mark along your 6 here. And then you'll center, and I just kind of eyeball it. Sometimes I'll move this so that I know it's right kind of in the center. And once you're in the center of your page, of your paper, then you could start cutting. if you want. So, but the thing is this mechanism needs to be in the center of the circle that you want to cut. So if you want a larger circle, you're just going to move or slide the arm down, and you can see at the end where you're cutting. So we have inch marks down here in the white, that is for your blade, and the black marks are for your pen. So I would like a 10, let's go for an 11 inch circle. So I want to make sure that this is centered and this is centered. So it's going to look like it's off the page, but it really isn't. It's cutting right below this notch. So I'm going to center this up with the lines and this up with the 6. So I have the 6 here, the 6 here, and I'm all centered. So then I'm going to twist this white piece and I'm going to press down. And then I'm going to press in on this mechanism, and that engages the blade. So there's a lot of pressing in this. So I press in and then I press down and I cut all the way around, and I do that again. Now you can kind of shift this to make sure that it all cut and pull it away if you like. But always make sure you're holding this down. So now I want to make a hollow circle. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to lightly lift this up, or I'm going to lightly lift this up and untwist this white part just a bit. And then I'm just going to shift this in. So I'm pressing this back down and I'm going to shift it in. And I started at 11, so I'm going to move in 1, 2, 3. I want to don't want a really tiny ring. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to move 3 in, and then I'm going to tighten this back up. So I've moved 3 notches in, and then I'm going to press this in. So engage the button and press down and come around. And that gives just a nice thin circle here. I didn't press all the way there. So it's just kind of like the custom cutting system where you can go back as long as you don't move around. Oh, Marcia, yeah, you're going to have to play with this. It looks really cool. Yes, it does. But once you play with it, so I'm just using a scrap piece of paper, but once you play with it a while, you'll get the hang of it. So again, I'm going to release this, but I'm still keeping this centerpiece in the center. I'm going to unlock, and then I'm going to hold back down, and I'm going to move in 1, 2, 3, 4. So just so that you can see, so I've moved in 4 notches. And I'm going to press, and then I'll engage, and I'll swing it around. And then we can remove that if we want. So that's the hollow circle that you get when you keep this mechanism in the same place. But what if you wanted an offset inner circle? So you will instead, you're going to move the centerpiece in. So you're going to untwist this, and then you're just going to move the whole mechanism in a bit. And then tighten it and press. Oops. And engage. So that takes a little bit to get used to. How you're going to do that, but you can see how we are, oopsie, thinner on one side and thicker on the other side, just by either moving the arm or moving the centerpiece, one or the other. Moving the centerpiece gives you off center, moving the arm gives you fully symmetrical inner circles. So let's get to creating this layout. So I've chosen some papers from the Homestead collection. I really love this collection. I think it goes with just about everything. But I'm adding in some flowers from the All My Love collection. I love these flowers, they're my favorite. And some stickers from the Natural Disposition. So 3 different collections in this quick little layout I'm going to show you. So I'm going to use this as my background paper. And then we are going to cut this into the circles. So, oh, Maria says, you don't know if it's an improvement for those who have arthritis, but for crops, less to take is the better. Absolutely. If you're an advisor taking these to in-person crops, it's easier to take this than all the custom cutting system. But yes, this isn't, I think once you get used to it, there's still some pressure, but it's not a lot of pressure. So it'll depend if you're having a flare-up with your arthritis, I think. So for this, I do want that big 11-inch circle. So I'm going to move this so that it's at the 11-inch and tighten it up. And then I want to make sure this black line is at the 6-inch mark here. And I want to make sure my paper is centered right in this 13 by 13 mat. If you don't have one of these 13 by 13 mats, maybe it's time to get one because it fits the paper perfectly and you can see the measurements on each side. So here I can come down and I can see that I'm lining up this line with the 6-inch and that my little tick mark that I made on the end is at the 6. And so once that's where I want it, I can press down here, press this little knob and cut. It's easier with the thinner paper too, Maria. All right, so I'm cut all the way around. And then what I'm going to do is undo this, and I'm going to press this back down just so it keeps the mechanism in place, and I'm going to shift this down to the 10-inch mark. Well, maybe the tick right before the 10. And yeah, that looks good. And then I'm going to tighten that back up. And then I'm going to press this in and give it a spin. There we go. Yep. And so now I have this this hollow circle and this larger circle. And I'm going to take my background paper and I'm going to layer it like that. So I'm just going to use my repositionable adhesive to tape that down. That's why I love the repositionable adhesive. Let's just get that centered and center this. There we go. There. And then we'll do the same for this. And just there. So I've used that one sheet of paper and I got this outside border and then the inside. And then I am going to use, I'm just going to set this aside and use the geometric frame punch to cut this black paper with this new frame. So I'm just going to cut a border with this, but you can also make frames with it. It's kind of a fun punch. Maybe if there's a piece left, I could show you how to make a frame. So there we go with that. And I'm just going to need my trimmer to trim that off a bit. I think I'll make it about 2 inches high, maybe 1 3/4. There we are. And then I'm going to just put a little tape on the end of that with the repositionable adhesive. Here's the border I want to add it to. And I think I want a strip of this below it. So I'm just building a border to go at the bottom. I haven't really decided what I want this to look like. I'm just kind of creating as I go. This is how Tammy creates a layout video. Watch me in action, I guess. So I'm just going to move this back over here so you can see that a little more. So I could leave this like this, but I think I'm going to take my scissors and give this a bit of a fussy cut. So, and I'm just going to trim just under this line. Doesn't have to be perfect underneath because no one's going to see it. But that's why these microchip scissors are amazing. I honestly can't scrapbook without them. I think I need an extra pair just in case I ever lose these. So I'm just trimming this along. And I thought this is the easiest way. I could have kept all the bits or punched it again and kept the bits, but I think this is much faster just cutting this around. And yeah, and this is called fussy cutting. If you've ever heard that term and wondered what it meant, it just means you're just being a little fussy with your cutting and you're getting into all little nooks and crannies and that kind of thing. And so I hope you guys can see that and I'm not making you dizzy. But so I'm just kind of angling the scissors so that I'm cutting just beneath that little black border. Oopsie. So that just kind of gives that. Now I think it needs a little bit more of that black underneath. It just seems to get lost, don't you think? Let's give this a trim and see. See if that black just below there gives it a little bit more weight. I think so. So let's just build that up a little longer. And you know me, I'm not much of a border person on layouts. I really like it to look like it's a part of the layout. So I may even pull this down. Yeah. All right. So I'm just building this base of the layout here. I'm going to let a little of that green peek through and then add this on top. So I just have that base built there. I'm going to add in my photos. I can find where I put them. I tend to scrapbook in a mountain. All right, so let's see. So I already pre-matted these with that same black from the Homestead collection, and I kind of pre-cut to see maybe I'd want a photo up there. I wasn't sure. I think I do. So I'm just going to add these in, but I'm not finished the layout yet. Add this in here. We have, oh, Sarah says it looks like a railroad bridge. Yes, it does. You are right. Oh, and Maria loves the scissor. Yes, I do love those scissors. I'm going to mat this one. I think I decided I did want to include it, so I'm going to mat that. And I'm just going to use my personal trimmer for that. While I'm here, I'm going to cut this to a 4x4 and show you that geometric frame punch, just since I have the paper and it's handy. Don't think I'll use it on my layout, but you never know. All right. So this will go up in here. That's it here. I think this border needs something along the bottom though, don't you? So I have these two stickers, so I could use this one from the Natural Disposition, or I could use this one from the Homestead. I'm really not sure. What do you guys think? I think I like the one from the Natural Disposition just because it has all those edges. Popping out these little holes as these little stickers can be a challenge. So let's just add this in down at the bottom here. There we go. And then I'm just going to show you this geometric frame first before we do anything else. So to get the frame, to make a nice cute little frame, you're going to put in your paper so it lines up at the silver line edge at the end. And you'll punch, and then you'll do that all the way around. This is so fun. So I'm just lining every corner up at that little silver line in the punch. And then we get this really cute, let's bring this back over. Get this really cute embellishment. So I could actually add in that embellishment here if I wanted. But I think that's way too much. I could tuck it in behind this photo if I wanted. But it's way too much for me. So I'm just going to leave it. I just thought I would show you that geometric frame punch. So now I just have to finish embellishing this. And as I said, I love these flowers from the All My Love collection. So I'm just going to pop out some of the more white ones, because I think they'll go really nice on this layout. Maybe just a wee bit of that green to add in a little green color. Don't have very many left in this little package. But so let's just add those onto the page. We'll add the white ones up at the top and the green ones more at the bottom. And then I'm going to use my foam squares to pop up this layout. Oh, you see it now, Sarah? Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? See that frame? I'll add this in here. And then I loved these word titles on here. So I love this wild and free. So I thought I might just do wild and free, but I'm going to pop up this and with a foam square. And pick that off. So I like that wild and free. And I love this little laugh title down here. Just kind of, I might just tuck it a little bit in behind that, just so it stands out a little bit more. And it kind of needs something in there. I might just add in a couple of gems because you know me, I love these gems. Get up in here. So I have some gems, I have that, and I pretty much finished this layout. Oh, except for this. This is my stomping grounds. This is perfect for this layout because this is the park behind the house that I grew up when I was a kid. This is the house right here that I grew up in. We moved when I was like 19, and so that was many moons ago. And so my husband and I just went there this past weekend because we used to hang out in this park, and you know, it had some great memories, and it was our 29th wedding anniversary. So I took him on a trip down memory lane. So so it was a fun weekend. It was a fun day. So there. I think my layout is done. So that didn't take too long to make this really beautiful, nicely detailed layout as well, using the Creative Memories new circle cutter and the new geometric punch. So pop in your comments what you think of these two new tools. If you enjoyed the couple of tips about the mat and with your circle cutter, and if you make a layout similar to this, please pop it in the comments below. I would love to see it. So until next time, everyone, happy scrapbooking.